Hi everyone, this is Jennifer Stave from Coloring Pages Bliss. In this video, I will be reviewing and demonstrating the Tombow Irojiten colored pencils, the Vivid and the Tranquil set. The first half of this video, we will take a close look at these pencils and put them through a series of tests to help us answer our questions. The second half of this video, I will demonstrate how they perform by coloring this cute little bird that I drew just a few days ago. You can download and print this and many more coloring pages from my website. As always, there are links to this coloring page, links to all the products that you will see in this video, and links to my Facebook page, website, and other social media outlets in the description below. Before I get started, let me state that I always give my honest opinion in reviews. I make every effort to be accurate about all the details, but remember, please do your own research before making any purchases. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Irojiten pencils that are produced by Tombow. Now, the Irojiten line is an artist grade pencil, and they are really pretty. The Irojiten line have been out for a little while now, and it's kind of a cool concept that they've come up with. And as always, Tombow is excellent at their packaging, and just concepts in general are their strong point. Now, the word Irojiten is kind of a difficult word, but it's also the whole idea behind their pencil line. The word Irojiten is Japanese for color encyclopedia. So what they've done is they've come up with sort of color stories that they put together in color books. So I'm going to put a picture up here on the screen right now of what the other sets look like. Now, typically they come in sets of 30, and they are put together in color stories so that different groups of colors would look good together. And what's great about this is that the color combinations look beautiful, and you're already set up for some really neat art in these sets. So the sets come in sets of 30. They come in sets of 12 now, like this. You can also purchase them in sets of 5, and you can get a large set of 90 that I recently found on Amazon. Now, you can also get these sets in open stock, which means individually each pencil can be purchased. So if you go through one pencil really quickly, you can replace it, which is excellent news. Price range, let's see. I found the 5 sets anywhere from $8 to $12. I found these 2 sets anywhere from $20 to $30. The 30 packs I found anywhere from $30 to $72 each, and the 90 pack, the one I found on Amazon, was $77. So you really want to do your price hunting on this one, because the price range was huge depending on which website I was looking at. Now, the packaging, like I said, is really fantastic with Tombow. The 30 packs come in those really neat dictionary book type packaging, which is really fun and feels really neat. And then these new 12 sets, which is a new addition to the original 90 colors, come in these blister packs. And this is what I have and I've been experimenting with. And the set comes, you can either get the Vivid, which are these really bright, pretty colors, or the Tranquil set, which is a much more muted tone set, and it comes with a sand eraser, which we're not going to talk too much about. I will show you a little bit, but it's not really part of this review. We'll probably do a separate review all about the Tombow sand eraser. And it also comes with a pencil sharpener, which I was a little leery about, because typically when a color pencil set comes with a sharpener, it's not that high quality. But let me tell you, when I used this pencil sharpener, I was impressed. It has a nice steel blade, and it worked really good. And the packaging is a great way to take it with you. You can throw it into your bag, and it protects your pencils really good. So this is a very nice way to have it. Take your pencil sharpener right with you. It's fantastic. So these little 12 packs are really great. So I'm impressed. On the back of the package, it basically just goes through and talks about how the colors stay crisp and vibrant when you blend. It's a high density pigment, hard dense lead core, is break resistant, sharpens smoothly and evenly. The eraser, it says, will cleanly remove colored pencil markings and can be used to create highlights. And each of these packs, like I said, contain 12. So this is what we are going to be reviewing today, because that's what I have received from Tombow, are these 2 packs. It's going to be a bit of a challenge to do the worksheet that I have because our color choices are limited, but we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. So let's talk about the individual pencils now. Okay, so the pencil shape is round and it has a closed end, and it's got a really nice pretty dipped paint to match the color of the core. And then it's this really pretty white. It is a gorgeous tool, and you know, there's something really special about having a really pretty tool, and Tombow has made a really pretty tool here. And the writing on the pencil is a really pretty silver. It says Irojiten on the end here, and then it has the name of the color and a number here. So this one says Parrot Green. Now, if you purchase the 12 packs, they come unsharpened, so you have to sharpen them all, which is a bit of a chore, but they sharpened up beautifully, and we will be doing some more sharpening tests here soon, so you can see that for yourself. Here you can see them sharpened up. So what I did is I just sat down in front of the TV and sharpened all 12 at once using the sharpener that they provided, and it went really easily. So this is a really pretty nice pencil. It feels good in the hand and it works really well. I could not find anywhere on their website or any of the other websites where I usually get this information what size the core is. So I used my ruler and did the best I could with measuring the core, and I'm guesstimating it's about a 3.8 millimeter core, but it is a wax base core, and so it's a larger core than their recycled pencils are, but it is, from according to my sources there at Tombow, it is made of the same product as the core in their recycled line, but you do get more product here with the Irojiten pencils. As far as the light fast information, again, with the Tombow, they don't give specific light fast information. When you go to their website, tombowusa.com, and click frequently asked questions at the bottom, they do have a little spot there that they talk about light fast and, you know, which colors tend to be more light fast and less light fast, and they give you a few quick tips on how to make your art more light fast, like using sprays and putting it behind glass. So you can go check that out if you would like. Just in general, I'm really impressed with the pencil. They're just a really pretty tool. So I wanted to show you the swatches and how pretty the colors are. So here's what you get with the Vivids, and here is the Tranquils. And the Vivids are a lot of nice fluorescence and just really bold, deep colors. And the Tranquils are these gorgeous, like it says, very tranquil, beautiful colors. And when I was coloring these out, I must say I was just really inspired, excited to do some coloring with both sets. Each of them made me want to get coloring, which is pretty exciting. And when you start comparing the end of the pencil with their corresponding swatch, the colors match really good. I was quite impressed. Let's compare a couple here. Here's the pink rose, and it matches really good. Let's compare this one here. This is cork right over here. This one I would say might be a little bit pinker, the end, compared to the swatch. This is the mint green. That one matches really good. Let's try one of their purple ones. This one is the crocus right here. That one matches good. Bring this over a bit here. Let's try the yellow. This is the straw yellow. that matches really good. So I'm very impressed with how well they've done, and they've taken their time to make sure this paint here matches the core. So well done, Tombow. Okay, so if anything, having these two sets of 12 just makes me wish that I had their larger, like the 90 set, because like I said, in a minute here we're going to start picking color samples for doing the worksheet, and I did feel like we are missing colors. Like we don't have an orange here in these two sets of 12, so we're going to have to sort of fake it for the tests. But that's the only complaint I have, is I wish I had more colors, because these are beautiful and inspiring. And so let's get on to the worksheet here and see how they perform. So I'm going to set up for the tests and pick out our color samples. What I like to do is, for every review, I use this pocket color wheel guide here, this color wheel, as my color standard. And I'm going to try to pick, as best as I can, a yellow, a green, a blue, a violet, a red, and an orange that will match as close as possible to this color wheel. And now those will be the pencils that we will use for the worksheet. Now, like I said, we are very limited here with what colors I have, so we're just going to do the best that we can. For instance, there is no orange in this set, so the best matching yellow is more like this dandelion yellow, but it's awfully close to this dazzling sun, which is the orange that I've decided to use, which really isn't this orange, but it's the closest thing I have to an orange in this set. But these two are too close. So what we're going to do is use this really pale yellow and this dazzling sun as the orange, and that's the best that I can do here. So we'll have to give a little leeway here on the worksheet for the color selection, but that's okay, we can do that, because we're also here to test just how well these perform, and that's what this test is about, not just about the colors, but about how they perform. So let's get set up. Okay, so we have our color wheel set up, and like I said, we need to give a little space here for the fact that we have a limited set of pencils, and so our color wheel looks a little interesting because we had to use a very pale yellow and a very fluorescent orange for our color wheel. So, but moving forward, let's go ahead and start with the first test, which is our core usage test, and we're going to use the cinnamon brown. This one came out of the Tranquil set, and what this test is going to do is show us basically how good of a point we can sharpen this to, and as we fill in this 2" by 2" square, how quickly does this core use up. Now on the back of the package, it talks about this core being a high density pigment, and it's hard, dense lead core that is break resistant and should sharpen smoothly and evenly. So we're going to put all that to a test. It does go down very smooth and silky. It's not like as soft as like a Prismacolor, but it's not difficult to lay down, so that's really nice. And I'm using here a Comb pencil sharpener, which is a very sharp magnesium blade, so it should give this pencil the best opportunity possible for sharpening. Okay, and there, look at that beautiful tip we got. That's lovely. And nice big curls, so it sharpens beautifully. And like I said, I used their sharpener over here for when I sharpened up all the pencils in the package, and it went really great. Okay, so for the first part of this test, we're going to go over this square one time. Actually, in the end, we're going to go over it 3 times. The first time is with light pressure, and this is just going to show us how much pigment comes down without hardly any work. Now I am using my favorite paper for color pencil art that fits into my printer, that is. And if you'd like to learn more about that, there's a video that I have produced recently on my YouTube channel. So there's a link to that video in the description below where you can learn about this paper. I use the same paper for all of the reviews so we can stay consistent from pencil to pencil set. Okay, that's the first pass, and we've only used just a tiny bit of the tip. So that's really great usage. Okay, we're going to go across the square again, this time with a medium to light pressure, and see how much we use of the core again. Okay, second time pass on the 2-inch square, and our core is still looking really good. Okay, the third time we go past on this, we're going to burnish in the color and try to get a solid brown square and see if we can complete this square without having to sharpen the pencil. The other purpose of this test is to see how smooth the pencil works, how it feels in my hand, and to see how much work it is. I like a pencil that I can use for hours if I want to color that long, and if the pencil makes me work really hard, then I won't be able to work for very long without a lot of pain. And so this test is going to show me exactly how much work these pencils are going to make me do. Okay, we've got that all burnished in, and the lead is almost done. I was just getting to the point where I felt like, oh no, I'm going to run out of core here. I'm going to need to sharpen it, but we made it to the end here without having to sharpen it. And it was getting a little laborious there to finish that up. That was interesting to me. But, you know, I've had pencils that are a lot more work than these ones are. So it wasn't terrible, but it was quite a bit of work to get this all burnished in. So, but I think it turned out really pretty and very soft and a lovely color. So, okay, we're going to sharpen this up now that we have used it here on the 2-inch square and see if we can bring it back to a point and how well it sharpens. Now remember, when you're sharpening pencils, to always move the sharpener around the pencil and not the pencil inside the sharpener. That protects the core. Now when you read the literature on the Irojiten pencils, they talk about the core being glued all the way along inside the casing of the wood to help protect that core and help it be as stable as possible. There you go. Back to a nice, beautiful point. Okay, while we're here testing sharpening, why don't we bring out the sharpener that came in the pack and test it? All right, looks like my green could use some sharpening, so we're going to use their cute little sharpener here and see how it works. Now, the first thing I notice immediately about this sharpener is the strange angle that it sits on the pencil. Can you see that? Look how weird it kind of comes off like that. So when you're using it, it's more important than ever that you hold that pencil still and sort of trust that the sharpener knows what it's doing. But look at that beautiful curl that comes off. So that's a good sign that you have a sharp blade. Okay, so we got a beautiful point on that. And the only complaint I have about this little sharpener is maybe that it's too little. And that this tiny part right here, I'm going to try to hold it really still and see if I can get at a good angle here. This tiny part right here of the blade is exposed, and once in a while you can feel it go across your skin if you hold the sharpener just right. That tiny little part of the blade. So that's my only complaint about this little sharpener, is maybe it's too little and they could have covered that little exposed part of the blade. So that's the sharpener that comes with the Tranquil and Vivid pack. The next test we get to do is to see if the pencils are visible on black. And this is important because a lot of artists do their work on a different color surface than just white. And they want to know if their pencils are going to, if the color is going to show up on black. So we're going to use blue and yellow and our red and just test it out here with little swatches and see how the color looks. Okay, so it's not showing up very good. At the very end, I decided to grab this is the Dazzling Sun, which is sort of a fluorescent orange, to see if maybe their fluorescence would show up a little bit better on blacks. But they're all about average, about the same. They're not showing up that great. The red probably is the best. I'll move it there in the light a bit to see if you can see it a little bit better from your perspective. Okay, now we get to move on to the erasing test. Now, these pencils are not advertised to be erasable. They do come with this sand eraser here. So we're going to do my eraser test here, which uses my favorite color pencil eraser, which is this Factus Black 18. And then I thought we would kind of pause with my testing and do a quick experiment with their sand eraser just to see how it works. And then we'll come back and continue with the tests that I normally do on this worksheet. So let's go ahead and do this test first. And the way we do that is with the red, and we're going to do sort of a gradient here with the red, and then we'll test the eraser. Okay, so let's use this Factus Black 18, which is a very flexible eraser here, soft eraser, and see how much of this pencil we can lift off. You know, we always sometimes make mistakes when we're doing art, and so it's nice to know if you can remove some of the pencil. And also, sometimes you want to lift off some of the pencil to create a highlight in your coloring, and so it's nice to know how it will perform. And there we go. It actually did pretty good, I would say. Maybe a little bit better than some of the other brands. There. Okay, so we're going to sort of pause my normal testing here and let's give their sand eraser a run. So using medium to heavy pressure here, I'm going to lay down our 6 colors that we're using on my worksheet. And then we can test out the sand eraser that comes in the package with the Vivid and Tranquil Irojiten pencils. When we interviewed the Tombow representative in a video that we'll put a link to in the description, she mentioned that this sand eraser can actually be used for ink as well. You can correct your ink mistakes. Now, I think the reason why is because this eraser is actually a very aggressive eraser. Here it is here. It's not nearly as flexible as, say, a polymer or this Factus Black eraser, and it has a grit to it. And so I think what's happening when we're using this eraser versus this eraser is we're actually going to be removing a bit of this paper. Now, this is the paper that I use for the worksheets and for the coloring pages. So it's a thicker weight paper that has some tooth, and so I would be careful using this kind of eraser on just a standard paper because I think you might have a problem. It might actually destroy your paper. So let's run this one through it first and see what happens. I'll do that up here. Okay, and now we're going to give the Tombow sand eraser a run and see how it does compared to this eraser. Now, the first thing I notice when I brush away, instead of it being what I'm used to, which is the latex rubber or whatever coming off of this eraser, it's more of a sandy grit coming away. And when I went across it, it almost started blending my colors first. And then when you feel it, you can feel that top of the paper is starting to come away. So there I've got it to about the same place that this black eraser got it to, but let's see if I can get it even more white. Okay, so as you can see, the Tombow Sand Eraser definitely does remove more of the pencil than this Factus Black 18. But when you put your hand across it, you can feel the paper almost feels fuzzy because it's you removed some of the fibers of the paper to get that result. So, moral of the story, yes, this does work fantastic. You can purchase this on its own if you want to, so we'll put a link to this eraser that you can purchase on its own in the description. But be careful, make sure you're using a paper that can stand it, and make sure that you use it wisely, and in a situation where if you do color over it again, it's going to affect the texture and the way that your pencil's going to look when you go back over it again, versus up here where it didn't do anything to the paper at all. So there you go, the Tombow Sand Eraser. Okay, back to our worksheet, and we're going to move on to the black value test. Now, this test is important to me because I would like to make sure that the blacks that they provide are a good true black. Now, one thing we don't know is this is called ivory black, and maybe in the full 90 set there is another black that might be a different value or darkness than this black. So keep that in mind as we move forward. Okay, we got that all blacked in, and I'm going to bring over my color wheel here where it's got a value scale here that we can see how black this black is, at least as close as we can. And I would say that it's somewhere, you know, it's pretty close to, I'm trying to see it in the studio light, sometimes it's difficult. It's maybe not a true 100% value 1 black, but I don't think it's a value 2 either. It's pretty close to that 100% black, so I'm impressed. Well done. I like a good black black. Okay, so now we get to move on to the layering test, which is really fun. We get to start seeing how these pencils work with each other. So we need the blue, yellow, and brown. So we're going to use the Kingfisher blue and the straw yellow, and grab our, let's see, it was the cinnamon brown that we used up here in this square, and it looks to me like these two need sharpening, so give me just a second. Okay, the first layer we're going to lay down is a light to medium pressure across the whole rectangle in blue. I love how, like, no pressure at all, and look how much color has gone down. That's a really good high pigmented pencil. Those vivid colors really are what they proclaim. They are very vivid. Okay, now 2/3 of this rectangle is going to be this yellow, and like we said before, we had to use a pretty light toned yellow because we're limited on our palette. So hopefully this layering test will still show off the way these pencils work regardless of that. So I might use more of a medium pressure here instead of the light that I used on the blue, just to help this yellow show through. And what we're looking for is for a green to start to appear, but we also are looking for a good feeling. We don't want it to feel too slippery. We want these two pencils to come together really good. Okay, we got a green here, and now we get to move on to the brown. And the third layer, again, we're going to do the light to medium pressure. And what we're looking for here is with the brown on top, can we still see the yellows and the blues coming through? Do these pencils play well together? Okay, there you go. when you look at this layer here, you can still see the yellow and the blue, although the yellow is pretty faint, but you can still see it there. And I can say that you still feel like you could keep layering, keep putting more layers on top, which is what you're looking for in a color pencil. That's what makes color pencil art really fun, is all the layering and mixing the different colors together. So that felt really good. I was impressed. Okay, now we get to move over to the blending tests, which is lots of fun. The very first test we're going to do is the Jennifer's Rule of Blending Thirds. If you'd like to learn more about this rule, there's a link to a video all about this blending technique in the description on this video. So what we're going to use here is yellow, orange, and red. Again, kind of a strange combination because of our color choices here with these two packs of pencil. We've got this very, light yellow, and then we've got a very interesting fluorescent orange and a red. But, looking at them together here, it might turn out really pretty. So let's see what happens. I'm going to turn my paper so that my angle for my hand is a little more correct. And away we go. First layer, light to medium pressure. The entire rectangle gets covered in yellow. Next we come in with our middle tone, which is the orange, and we're going to cover 2/3 of the rectangle in our light to medium pressure. Finally, we go to our deepest tone, which is our red, for the final third. Okay, now we go back to the middle tone and go over the 2/3 again. And finally, the lightest tone over the entire thing. This helps bring all of it together, kind of blends it in. All right, now it didn't blend as well as I wanted it to, and it's a little odd, I must say. The orange, this fluorescent orange, didn't behave the way I thought it would. And we've got a few flecks of the red that got mixed in back here, and that's probably my fault, user fault, for not brushing away some of the dust as I went along. So that's what's going on here. But in general, I'm a little bit disappointed here with the way it blended. So I don't know if it's because we're using such odd colors and trying to force them into a blend that they don't want to do because they're so strangely paired. I'm not sure. But I felt like I could keep layering if I needed to. I could go back and keep adding more layers and keep working the three together if I needed to. But for this worksheet, this was all I'm sort of allowed to do for a fair comparison between pencils. So there we go. Okay, the next test we get to do is the odorless mineral spirits, which is one of my favorite ways to blend, and so this will be lots of fun. We get to use the blue for this and the yellow. And odorless mineral spirits is a solvent. Some people know it by the name Gamsol. And I'm just going to use a blending stub. And I keep my odorless mineral spirits in a small container with just a small amount. And what we're going to do is cover the rectangle with some of the pencil. Now, because this is such a light yellow, I'm going to use more of a medium pressure rather than a light pressure, because I want to make sure we have enough of the pigment down that the mineral spirits will actually work here. So let's get this yellow in there good. And then we get to move to the blue, and we're going to cover 2/3 of the rectangle in the blue. And this one's definitely all I need is a nice light pressure, light to medium, because it's such a really pretty pigmented pencil. The color's just going down really easy. There's that beautiful green in the middle. And the mineral spirits, what we're going to look for is, will the mineral spirits bring out even more of a green? So what happens here, we dip this in and soak it into the stub, and the mineral spirits will break down the wax and other binders of the pencil and leave behind just the pigment. This is a great way to blend your color pencils and come up with some really neat effects. Almost makes it look like marker or paint. Look how far that blue is traveling. That's a really good sign that that's a lot of pigment in that pencil. That yellow didn't travel very far, but we didn't expect it to because it's a pretty light pencil. But that blue, look, it's almost all the way to the end of the box. Okay, so that's how the pencils react with the odorless mineral spirits, and it's a very smooth blend, and the colors, the blue went really far away. The yellow got lost, which we expected, so we've kind of lost that green. So the test is a little difficult because of our colors again, but the blue is spectacular. Look how far that pigment went. Very impressive. Okay, now typically the next step we would go to would be this blending here, where we would use a white pencil to overlay and mix the colors and blend the colors. But these two sets here didn't come with the white, so we're just going to go ahead and skip this test. Which leads us to the last test on our worksheet, and it's using a colorless blender pencil to do the blending. Now here I have a colorless blender by Prismacolor Premier, and all it is a pencil that doesn't have any pigment. So it's a wax-based pencil with no pigment. And we're going to blend together the yellow and the red and see what color if we can get an orange in between. Now again, we've got our pale yellow and we've got a very vivid red. So let's see what happens here. Okay, and then you use your colorless blender to just sort of burnish the colors together. And usually it brings out the pigment and smooths out the strokes. Colorless blender pencils are a really fun tool to use when coloring with color pencils. Okay, there we go. And look how pretty and smooth that colorless blender did, and it brought the red quite out again. And we lost the orange again just because of the paleness of that yellow. So that's just to be expected by that pencil there. But it felt very smooth and nice with that blending. So there you have it. That is our worksheet with the Tombow Irojiten pencils. I'm going to go ahead and fill out some of the questions here and we can talk about it. Okay, so my final notes on these Irojiten color pencils. Basically, I think that they are excellent with the core usage. They last a long time with coloring, so I think you're going to get a lot of life out of each pencil. Especially the vivid colors, they go down really smooth and it's really easy to apply them. Hardly any pressure, you get a lot of pigment down on your paper. They sharpen super easy and they're lovely. You get the lovely curls, especially if your sharpener is nice and sharp. Because of the limited colors we had, I think that's why we were getting mixed results with the blending. I think there's great potential here for blending, and the layering, it felt like you could keep layering and keep going without any problem there. But as far as what we got here on the worksheet, we did get some mixed results with the blending. Erasing, I think they're better than average. They do really good with the erasing test. I think the unique features with the Irojiten, of course, is the packaging, and that they put them together in those really clever tonal groups so that you get the neat and easy color choosing for your coloring. And finally, I think I would just really like an opportunity to retest these, because if I had maybe the full set of 90, I'd be able to do a better color choosing from our color wheel and maybe be able to see more accurately how it does on the blending and see exactly what these pencils are capable of, because they're just really beautiful, and I'm really impressed by, once again, impressed by Tombow and the quality of their products. So this completed worksheet and all my other product review worksheets are posted on my website for you to compare. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel so you won't miss future videos. Now, what I'm really excited about is moving on to the demonstration portion of this video, because even though we had some mixed results here, and even though I have limited pencils to use, I am truly inspired by especially this set, the Tranquil Irojiten color pencils. And I specifically chose this bird to color because I thought that it's going to look really beautiful with the Tranquil colors. We're going to use some of the vivid ones too, of course, but I'm really excited to show you what these Irojiten pencils can do on this beautiful little bird. So let's get set up and get coloring. Okay, I'm just finishing up sharpening a couple little pencils here, and what I've decided to do is lay out all of the Irojiten Tranquil pencils. Now, if you remember from the first part of this video, we talked about how Irojiten is Japanese for color encyclopedia, and sort of the idea behind the Irojiten line is to set up groups of colors that work well together. So the way I'm going to start this coloring page is with the Irojiten Tranquil set, mainly because I have been really excited about coloring with this palette and want to see what it can do, especially on this beautiful little bird. So we're going to just have some fun, and if I need to, I'm going to reach for the vivid colors and add some more bright pops of color if I feel like we need to add more. But we'll start with just right here with the Tranquil set and see how far we get. So let's have some fun and play. I think what we're going to do is kind of use these gorgeous browns here as sort of the base of the bird, and then kind of have the colors explode off from that, because there's a lot of opportunities for some real fun pops of color here on this gorgeous little bird. So much fun. Let's go ahead and start with cork. I'm going to kind of have, oh, I just don't know. There's so many different ways we could go. Let's do this part of the bird in the browns. Okay, then we want to add in, they've got this trio of light, medium, dark that was included in this set, and so I'm going to go ahead and kind of work some shading in, sort of like the Jennifer's rule of blending thirds that we did in the worksheet, and just add in a little bit here to make it feel some dimension, and we're going to add some here on the edge of the little bird's head to make the head feel a little curved. Then I'm going to touch it with the darker tone. This is the crimson. If you look at my color palette, my color swatches, which I have handy just here off the camera, this is where I'm kind of watching to see how the colors work together that they gave me. So that's how I picked the light, medium, and dark. But of course, at this set, as we saw, what's great is that Tombow's given us pencils that the color swatches on the ends of the pencils are very accurate, so that's super helpful when we're coloring. We don't have to keep referring back all the time to our color swatches. We can just look at the pencils. Okay, back to the medium tone and start blending it out. And then the light tone, we'll pull it all together. Okay, now we get to pick the wings and all this really spectacular fun that's going on this bird. So I think I'm feeling really inspired by these purples they've given us here. I like how if you look here, I really like how the crocus and the lupine look together. So let's move to those two next. Let's see, this is crocus. Okay, I also ended up grabbing the sea fog, just have another depth, just a bit darker purple, and I really like how it's adding that third level to the blending. Always seem to need that in the blending, that light, medium, and the dark. Okay, now we're going to pick another set here. It looks like we need another set of colors for in here. And then we're going to have these wings out here. So I'm wondering now if we go in and try, I'm thinking this crimson and this pink would look really pretty together. So let's try that in here. I'm going to use the cinnamon as my middle tone. I'm using quite a heavy pressure here at the end, more than I normally would, and really leaning on this rose pink to pull these other two brownish colors, the cinnamon and the crimson, together into more of a pink place. I'm really liking how this is looking, and it's making it look very different than the way this turned out, where the light on that was this one, the cork. So you can see how important that light tone is, how it changes this dark and medium tone so much. Okay, I really like how that's turning out, and in fact I think I'm going to grab this cork color and come back to the body and work again in here. I really like how I used the pink to make those browns really turn a rosy color, and so I think I'm going to use the cork to do the same thing down here to just bring more definition and more difference from the body to these different feather parts here. Okay, now we get to look at our pencils and find some more color combinations here for the feathers on our bird. So let's pull them all together and pull down the color chart and pick some fun colors. Okay, I pulled aside the two grays. We've got a taupe and a pigeon gray, and I think I'm going to reserve those for the background. It'll give us a nice neutral background for this very colorful bird that we're creating. So I've pulled those two aside and out of the sort of the running for the colors we can select for the feathers. So we're going to use the Campanula blue, and I think it'll look really pretty with the lupine. So that will be a neat combination for some of the feathers. And I'd like to use the green, which is night green, and straw yellow for these spheres that are out in the background. So I'm going to pull those to the side. So now we're down to these here that we've already used in the bird, which is a good way to not muddy up the bird with too many colors. So I like that. Now I think that the crimson and the pink together would be a really bold feather. We'll make these feathers sort of the most bright thing on the bird. And if we pull the brightest purple, which was crocus, and I wonder though if crocus and Copenhagen blue, not Copenhagen, Campanula blue would look good together. I think so. Let's do those two for our feathers. I like that. And then we'll have these on hand to use as lights or mediums or wherever else we feel like we need them. Okay. So here at the tail, the last thing we used were in the pink family, so let's have these feathers be purple next. And I think the crocus is going to be our dark. It's kind of hard because we've got more in the gray tone here and more of a bright here, so it'll be an interesting combination here. Let's see what happens. Okay, so for these feathers, I'm trying to make them more look really curved, and so I'm doing a dark here and a dark here with the highlight in the center. Now I'm trying to decide if we should keep these wings all pink across the whole wing, or if I should continue to stagger and go pink, purple, pink. So in the end, I decided to do pink for these primary feathers across here, and then to do purple for these smaller feathers, kind of like when she spreads her wings, you all of a sudden get to see a new color of feather peek out. So what I'm doing is I lay down the light color first, and then I come in with the deeper color and lay a little extra of the deeper color along this part of the feathers so that they look like they're overlapping a little bit. And then I come back with the lighter color to just blend them and bring them all together. Okay, there's our bird, and I'm really excited about how it looks. I love the color combination that this Tranquil set has put together for us. And now we get to move into the background, and like I said before, I've reserved the yellow and the green, and that's what we're going to do the circles with. And I have a piece of wax paper here that I'm using to protect what I've colored. I just rest my hand on it, and that works really good. And then I've got the grays, the pigeon gray and the taupe, that I've also reserved. So I'm going to just go around and fill in the circles with my yellow and green, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do with the grays. Okay, we've got all of the really pretty little spheres done with the mint green and straw yellow, and now we're going to do the background in these two grays that I have reserved, the pigeon gray and taupe. So after these two are used, then we've used every color in the Tranquil Irojiten 12-piece set in one coloring page, which is really cool, and it's really pretty and sort of proves out their theory of putting these color sets together and their idea of this color encyclopedia type packaging idea, which is, like I said, Tombow is just brilliant at their packaging. I've always been impressed by that. So what I'm going to do with the grays is go around these different objects with the darker gray to kind of give them a deeper shadow, and then do the whole background in just a really light wash of the lightest gray, which is this pigeon gray, and we'll see how it looks. So this should go pretty fast and just be nice and light and soft in the background. It's so much easier to color with color pencil when you're doing the light to medium pressure. On these circles here with the yellow and the green, I was using a much heavier, almost full-on heavy pressure so that the tones would show up on camera for you guys. So my hand is quite tired at this point, so it's very relaxing to go into this gray background phase where I'm using really light pressure and just skimming the paper here. Okay, well, I was, almost done coloring and noticed that some of the wider areas just needed a little darkening to kind of bring the background together, and was going with kind of a light pressure to just go over it one more time to bring it all together, and darn it, we had a tip break, and I was kind of like, wow, we haven't had a single problem with any sharpening or any breakage or anything, and bam, there went a break. So darn. Anyway, so one breakage in all that coloring. So that was on the pigeon gray. Okay, remember that this coloring page I just colored is available as a downloadable PDF on my website. All the links you need are in the description below. Thanks so much for watching this color pencil review. Please take a moment to like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I have many more reviews and tutorials here on my channel with live weekly events on my Facebook page. I would love to have you join our fun community. If there is a product you would like me to review, please comment below and I will see what I can do. Thanks again for watching, and have a blissful, colorful day. Bye-bye.